we're talking NBA basketball. There was a massive game last night between the LA Lakers and the Milwaukee Bucks. Bucks were wearing some type of nonsensical blue jersey on their green court. I get it if you want to switch your colors up, switch your court up like the Brooklyn Nets do. It just didn't look right. It didn't look good. I don't really like the blue jerseys. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to spice it up, the NBA. They're all about marketing. They're on their shit with that, and wanted to give Giannis and the Bucks a new look going into this season, try and rebrand the team a little bit. Maybe if they win, if they're able to make it through the playoffs, everybody will forget about the transgressions of the past where they weren't able to get through, and all the criticisms of Giannis and not being able to win the big game. He'll eventually get there. They just need to build a better team around him. We'll see. He might need to move on from the Milwaukee Bucks to get there, but we'll see. I still believe in Giannis. He's an absolute unit. Um, but last night, the Lakers ended up winning that game 113-106, and it was a game of runs. Each team would score 10 in a row unanswered, and then it would just keep going back and forth. At one point, the Bucks were up 12, and another point, the Lakers were up 15, and then the Bucks came back, were up 6 again. It just it kept fluctuating very much, and the Lakers just outplayed the Bucks. They move on to 12-4. The Lakers are the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, still right above the Jazz at 11-4. The Clippers also at 11-4, and then in the East, the Milwaukee Bucks are third at 6-9. The Celtics are second at 8-5. And correction on that Bucks, the Bucks are 9-6, not 6-9. The Celtics are 8-5. The 76ers are 10-5 in first place, leading the Eastern Conference currently. But back to the Lakers, the addition of Schrodinger, Gasol, and Montrezl has been a huge difference maker. The Lakers are still winning games. The Lakers are still dominating, and LeBron's only averaging like 24 points. AD's not averaging much more, and they're just a more balanced team. They're a significantly better team. Their defense has improved. Their scoring's improved. Everything has gotten better. All the questions in this offseason of the moves that the Lakers have made in this offseason have been answered, and the Lakers are rolling. It doesn't even seem like Anthony Davis, if you're watching the games, even cares. Like, Anthony Davis could add 7 points. As long as the team's winning, he's fine. He's not really exerting himself. He's almost in-game load managing, which I have no problem with. The guy's in the game. He's giving the fans what they want, unlike that other loser on the other side of town in Kawhi on the Clippers. But it was very, very cool to see. It was a good game to watch last night. The Lakers took it home 113-106, and we'll definitely be looking at more Lakers-Bucks matchups as the season goes on. In the game, Anthony Davis had 18 points. LeBron James had 34 points. My gambling NBA tip of the week, never take the under on LeBron James. It was set at 25. He eclipsed that in the third quarter. The Milwaukee Bucks leading scorer obviously was Giannis Antetokounmpo with 25, followed by Chris Middleton with 20. Giannis also racked up 12 boards. AD had 9 on the Lakers side of the ball. And overall, it was just a good game. It was very entertaining. It was close. It was a game of runs, as I said. Everybody would score in bunches. The Lakers would score a bunch. The Bucks would score a bunch. And very entertaining. Lakers win. Another interesting game that happened last night was the New York Knicks defeating the Golden State Warriors. Draymond Green was ejected from the game. He only had 3 points, no rebounds, 8 assists. The leading scorer, obviously, Steph Curry, was just wetting him from 3. He had 4 assists in 35 minutes played. On the Knicks side of the ball, the Knicks were going nuts. Everybody was producing. Everybody on the Knicks side of the ball was going crazy with the baskets. They were shooting all over. The Knicks were hitting threes for the first time since the 80s. And R.J. Barrett obviously balled out, 28 points. He's a beast. He's a unbelievable leader for the Knicks organization, and the Knicks have been playing very well this season. Much surprise to some people. They land themselves in the 8th seed at 8-8, which is 500. which isn't great, but typically we'd expect the Knicks to be about 2-14 at this point. They trail the Cavaliers, who are also 500, and the Hawks, who are also 500 at 7-7, and the Nets are in fifth place at 9-7. The Golden State Warriors, on the other hand, are in seventh in the Western Conference at 8-7, trailing the Grizzlies, who are 7-6. The Trailblazers 8-6, and the Suns 8-5 at fourth place overall. And very interesting to see the Knicks go this season. They've just completely changed their game. They've been hitting it from deep. It seems like the culture's changed. They expect to win instead of expecting to lose. They come in playing hard. And if you're watching the games, they just look like a completely rejuvenated Knicks team. The story of last night, though, was Draymond Green being ejected for yelling at his own teammate, James Wiseman. The official that made the second technical call on Green is the NBA's youngest ref, the NBA's least experienced, the NBA's newest hire, and I hope that he learns from this. I hope that he moves on. Steve Kerr says after the game in his press conference that the officials admitted to him that the technical on Green was a mistake, that he should have never been taken out of the game. Green picked up his first technical with 4 minutes and 2 seconds left in the first quarter for arguing with officials, of course, as Draymond does. But his second was 1:04 left in the second quarter after turning the ball over on a pass to Wiseman that he didn't step to, that the Knicks players were able to get to the ball beforehand. Wiseman, young gun, that's a rookie mistake that he needs to definitely cut out of his game, but it'll happen. Draymond Green was just letting him know that this is the NBA. You got to go to the ball. You got to make the play. If I'm making a pass to you, you better get that thing, even if it's not the best pass ever, which it wasn't. Draymond Green just had every right to be just as upset with himself as he was with James Wiseman, but there was definitely no reason for Green to be ejected, even though I loved it. It was hilarious. The final team we're going to talk about in this NBA segment is the Brooklyn Nets. They're sitting at 9-7. Their next game is tonight at 7:30 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll see how that goes. KD won't be playing, but Kyrie's finally back from his personal Corona vacation, and Harden's there. Last game, the Nets also played the Cleveland Cavaliers and lost by 12, 147 to 135. And Kyrie Irving had to watch Colin Sexton, while wearing his old jersey and his shoes, drop 42 on them in the victory. And Kyrie, although he dropped 37 and Kevin Durant dropped 38, it still was not enough to take down the 7-7 Cavaliers. But this back-to-back game is like, I guess, a revenge game for them. They're coming in hot. They are KD-less, so we'll see how it works out for them. We'll see how just the combination of James Harden and Kyrie works out together. Two very obviously ball-dominant players. We'll see. Obviously, they don't need there's a vacancy of about 30 points in Kevin Durant not being there, so they're both going to be able to get their buckets, but we'll just see how the flow of the offense works with those two guys on the court together. Very ball-centric, very ball-dominant, both of them. James Harden is a little more passive. Not that Kyrie, he does rack up assists, but to get their game going, to get into the flow of the game, both of them need to have the ball in their hands. And when Kevin Durant's out, it probably shouldn't be too much of a problem, but when Kevin Durant's in, who's the focal point of their offense, who the ball's always being led to, one of those two guys is going to sacrifice touches on the ball, and we'll just see how either of those drama queens react to the less shots that they're getting up. But I know I talked about this in the last podcast, so we'll move on. But tune in tonight at 7:30 for the round 2 of the Cavaliers versus the Nets. And that was the NBA segment for this week of Angy Talks Sports. We definitely are going to be talking more NBA as the season goes on, as the NFL season comes to an end.